What's up, Vetters? Patrick here with Vetted. Let's jump in. A couple days ago, I made a video about Jeremy Corbell coming out saying that there were going to be 3 new firsthand witnesses coming forward. Take a look.
There are whistleblowers, and there are 3 who have confirmed to me, firsthand whistleblowers, that they will testify under oath publicly at Congress. Congress needs to respond to this video.
And it was during this video that I asked this question. So I don't know if you caught it there, but Jeremy said he has 3, can't even get my fingers up, 3 firsthand whistleblowers ready to come forward and testify at the next hearing. The real question is, what does firsthand mean? Is it that they've seen videos like this, in a setting, or they've seen the craft firsthand? I really would like that, distinguished, right? Which is it? They touched a craft? What does firsthand witness mean? Well, guess what? Jeremy has responded to that question and made a post about what exactly a firsthand witness is. And he texted me the link and said, hey, I saw you ask this question. Here's my response. So let's take a look at it. Please hit that like button, Vetters. That really helps out the videos. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I put out new videos about the UFO phenomena every week, and I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Now, let's look at this explanation of what a first-hand witness actually means, because you see, I have been asking this question pretty much since I started Vetted, to be honest with you, and everyone seems to have a different definition. So the value of that phrase being used by people doesn't really hold much weight when they don't explain what that means, because on its surface, first-hand witness sounds like, whoa. But when you really started to ask people, they'd be like, oh, they saw a video of a photo of a thing. They're a first-hand witness. Wait a second. What? Right? So that's why I asked for clarification. I'm so glad Jeremy responded. All right, so here's the tweet that Jeremy texted me. A number of first-hand military and intelligence community UAP whistleblowers and witnesses have directly confirmed to me and George Knapp that they are willing and ready to testify at the next congressional UAP hearing, if called. But what does firsthand really mean? Exactly. There are layered categories of what we refer to as firsthand UAP witnesses or whistleblowers. My personal baseline for the term refers to individuals who meet the following criteria. Let's move this up. Number 1, in an official government capacity, they have personally and verifiably been in close physical proximity to operational UAP craft or functioning components of UAP technology. This typically occurs on military installations, DoD contracted sites, or within SAP qualified laboratories. Number 2, they have directly and unambiguously observed, participated in testing, cataloging, or protective operations related to UAP hardware or performance study programs. This also includes participation in UAP-related intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance efforts, or direct physical exploitation of UAP craft or associated technology. Number 3, they have provided substantiated evidence that proves their roles, responsibilities, and involvement at the time and location of exposure, establishing a credible and verifiable foundation for their UAP-related testimony and evidentiary contributions. That is my working definition of a baseline firsthand UAP witness or whistleblower, the most fundamental tier in a multi-layered structure of categories. But there are other valid types of firsthand witnesses, including those with verified exposure to UAP study or concealment programs, those who provide visual, technical documentation and performance evidence of military captured UAP, and those with corroborated proof of intentional government suppression or cover-up of the UAP presence on Earth. Each of these witness types is critical. All levels of testimony and insight contribute. No matter how small their individual piece of the UAP puzzle may seem, collectively they form a preponderance of evidence for the reality of the UAP phenomena. And these people can and must testify at the next congressional hearing on UAP. It's what the public wants. Go, go. UFO transparency. Love that pic of Jeremy and George. That's a good picture. Very good fellas, right? So, all right. So that's Jeremy's definition of what he considers a firsthand UAP witness. Let me know in the comments. What do you think about this? Does this explain all the different types? And will they explain what category of witness when they claim witnesses will come forward? Will they put that caveat? It's this type of witness, right? So I appreciate this explanation, and it's a deep conversation to have with people. Just try having that conversation with somebody and watch the can of worms it opens up. Because at first you just think, oh, I know the definition of that. It's one of those things that you just think, yeah, firsthand, I know what that means. But then like, okay, what does it mean? And then you start explaining it. Well, wait a second, maybe I don't know what entirely they mean by that, right? And these definitions are important because much of the UFO topic is built on these specific words that people use. And if you don't understand what that word means and what they mean when they use it, your expectations can be heightened or diminished depending on the value you give to the definition of that word. You know, that was a word salad I just threw at you guys, but I think you get the point. Now, Jeremy also went on another news station and basically brought up these witnesses once again. Take a look.
So, and part of that is Congress has become more involved in this, in part thanks to you. They're talking to you. Talk about what your conversations have been like with Congress and how you're working with them to try to get people to come forward.
I'm going to cut to brass tacks here. I have 3 or more firsthand direct whistleblowers to the UAP thing from within government. We're talking agencies in intelligence that have and will put their lives on the line to tell the American public under oath in an open congressional hearing what they know about the cover-up of the UFO reality. That is fact, and I have alerted Congress to it. There has been some vetting that is done, and we have a chance to have another UFO hearing where people will, for the first time, hear from first-hand, hands-on whistleblowers. Now, there have been others. Commander David Fravor, he came and testified about chasing a UFO for the United States military. But I'm talking about high-quality witnesses.
So you're saying right now that they want to come forward, but somebody in government is preventing them from coming forward?
There have been threats, medical malpractice, there have been lies, you have all sorts of things that have happened to these people who are not yet public. They come forward under duress to me and George Knapp often. That was with David Grush, who's now famously came forward and said we have recovered craft with biologics inside. A lot of people don't want to come forward for a variety of reasons, not all because they've been threatened, but some of them 100% have been threatened, and they are coming forward anyway, and I'm giving Congress a chance to do the right thing.
And are the members of Congress, by and large, open to this idea?
Yes.
Are there some that are trying to stop these people from coming forward? What are you seeing?
Right. So there are some people who are kind of shining lights in this kind of disclosure movement. What people don't know is that there was legislation put into place that they said like 27 times or something, non-human intelligence. It was put forward by Senator Rounds and Senator Schumer. This is something they tried to pass. It was like a disclosure language.
Bipartisan.
Yes, bipartisan. There's a lot of people. So right now, Representative Luna has a task force that is supposed to be about transparency. She has the ability to bring these people forward for the American public to hear. Additionally, Representative Burchett has been really great on fighting for transparency. So there's a lot of love in Congress across the aisle, both sides, and I'm really hoping, and I know they have courage, they're gonna do the right thing, have another hearing. We've got the witnesses, and they're coming forward anyway.
I mean, look, we can't ask for witnesses and evidence and proof, and then when people are like, okay, I got some people that want to come forward and testify. No, we don't have time for that. Well, wait a second. You're asking for proof of the claims they're making, and people like Jeremy and others are trying to bring whistleblowers forward, and then you don't want them to speak. You may not agree with it or think it's bullshit or whatever, but the idea that we can't let them speak, I mean, this is ridiculous. Again, we're asking for proof and evidence of this stuff, and people are trying to bring whistleblowers who want to talk. We can then decide on the information and data they bring forward, but to just not let them come forward doesn't make any sense whatsoever. no matter what you think about the topic. If you're a staunch skeptic, you're a staunch believer, or you're like me, who's in the middle, right? Let them speak. We can decide what to do with it afterwards. So I hope Jeremy is able to push through and get some of these people to come forward and testify, because I support it 1,000%. Again, we can decide on what they bring forward and how, what value it has and the validity of it. But if we never hear it, how are we supposed to know? So let them come forward and let them speak. All right, y'all. Links in the description. Go check it out. Let me know what you think about the definition of a first-hand whistleblower. We'll see you on the next one. Remember, vetters, every day's a gift, y'all. Peace.